right, let's open up with a prayer. All brothers remove their head coverings. All sisters pray with their heads covered. And we face the east towards Jerusalem. Our Father, Yahweh, Elohim, the Allah of Abraham, Yashak, and Yaakov. Covenant Father, Elohim of Yahshua, we thank you once again, Yahweh, for the opportunity to gather on your Shabbat, Yahweh. Not only a place, a means, but also a desire and a knowledge, Yahweh, to put this day and set it apart. For you have set this day apart, Yahweh, and hallowed this day, so we're thankful to take part. Yahweh, we humbly come before you and ask that you allow your angel that sits at the door and knock to sup with us and us with him, so your name could be here on these grounds, giving us that holy Kodesh Mikra, Yahweh, that you commanded us so that we can show you your sign. Yahweh, we thank you for all the blessings you've given us throughout the week, Yahweh, all the tests, all the chastening, Yahweh, and all the patience that you've had with us throughout the week, Yahweh, as we enter into your Shabbat. We ask that you re-energize us, Yahweh, and allow us to pick a greater consciousness, Yahweh, so that we enter the new week, Yahweh, with a better consciousness, Yahweh, a better desire and ability, Yahweh, to glorify you in our works, our deeds, and in our words, Yahweh. Yahweh, we ask once again that you please forgive us of our sins and trespasses, Yahweh. Do not discipline us in your sore displeasure, Yahweh, but in your tender love and mercy, Yahweh, with full understanding that we are just children growing up in a Babylonian way, trying to find our way back home, Yahweh. So we ask that you encourage us and enable us, Yahweh, to do so. Yah, these things we humbly come before you and thank and pray through your holy, humble, anointed Son, Yahshua HaMashiach. Amen.
Good job.
Shalom, Kylie,
No, that's
Shylin. I know it was someone with the two-stage name.
Shylin Milan.
Shylin.
Mm-hmm.
Her face like slowly got like, no, that's not my name. Like it was a slow. Like the longer I spent saying the name, the more her face was disfigured. Like, like, that's not. You're wrong.
All right, Shabbat Shalom. My name is Yedan Yashua, my brother Yantan Yashua.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And the title of today's Shabbat study is A Nation Blessed. A Nation Blessed. And it might not seem like it if you turn on the media or you look at what's going on in this world, but we are a blessed nation. We are blessed high above all the other nations of the earth. The only issue is there are stipulations that come with our blessings. We don't just get them by default. We have to keep the blessings. We give away the blessings with, the transgression of commandments. And, we've done plenty of classes on that, how we give away our blessings. But this class today, we want to study a little bit more about the blessing that is before us, what we're living for and how we can live life and be blessed more abundantly. If we believe what's in this book, we're believing who we are through these curses, because we're like, oh man, this got to be us. We Israel. Nobody else is going through this. So, I understand. Well, if we believe the curses, then we also should believe the blessings, that we should believe that, listen, if we change our lives and we change according to the prophecies in this book that prophesies that we are going to change as a nation, then we're going to be blessed as a nation. So we have to have faith in all of the above, and not just, I know who we are and, this, that, and the other. But we also got to believe that if we put these actions, these ways that Yah has for us, if we do these ways, we are going to be blessed. But we believe the world often that we have to do certain activities or do things a certain way in order to be blessed, because that's what we see. We see carnal things and we hold those as blessings. So we're going to get a better understanding of that. So let's open up in Bereshit, Genesis chapter 12. Genesis, Bereshit chapter 12. And we're going to read verses 1 through 8. And Shabbat Shalom, Ariel Smith. Shabbat Shalom, Arthreen Campbell. Shabbat Shalom, G. Shikol. And Shabbat Shalom, Sister Tanya and Brother Isaiah in IGA in Augusta. Good to see you all, sisters and brothers. And Shabbat Shalom, Brother Yafi Yehuda. Love that Yah cap that he got in the profile picture, man. All praises to the Most High Yah. Genesis chapter 12, Bereshit chapter 12. And we're just going to read verses 1 through 8.
Now Yahweh had said unto Abram, Get you out of your country and from your kindred and from your father's house unto a land that I will show you.
All right, so immediately he's calling Abram away from Mesopotamia. He's calling him away from Babylon, basically. Come, get out of away from your family, your kindred, where you're from, the way you used to do things, all that. Get away from there. And that seems like, man, that's like a curse, you being separated from your family. But we also understand from the reading the scriptures in its entirety that Yah sets the solitary in a family. He is about to be blessed. And sometimes when you're about to be blessed, you got to be sanctified. You got to be separated from the general public or the general family so that he can work on some things. So that it can be a true blessing to you. So you can be blessed and actually retain and keep the blessings. Go ahead.
And I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless you, and curse them that curse you, and in you shall all families of the earth be blessed.
So now we know Yahshua said, why call you me great? There is no great other than my Father which is in above, or why call me good or anything of that statue. So now he's saying, I'm going to make your name great, and you shall be a blessing, and make you a great nation. So if you tie that in with what Yahshua is saying, there is no good or great other than my Father that's above. He's saying that I'm going to dwell with you. I'm going to be with you. My spirit is going to be with you. My Shem, your name, my character is going to be on you. That's what's going to make you great, because you're going to be associated with me. And Shabbat Shalom, LaRonda Chambers. Good to see you. And Brother Marshall Chambers, good to see you as well. Some more brothers and sisters in IGA. Good to see y'all. Love y'all. And Shabbat Shalom, Brother Lucas Cool. Good to see you, family.
So Abram departed, as Yahweh had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. This is Genesis chapter 12 and verse 5. And Abram took Sarah, his wife, and Lot, his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came.
All right, so they left, but he said, get you away from your family and your father's house. away from your country, away from your kindred, your father's house, until a land I will show you. But in verse 5, Abram took Sarai, his wife, so that would be him. They're one, so that would be him leaving. And Lot, his brother's son. Wait a minute, he didn't say take your brother's son with you. He didn't say nothing about your nephew. But see, Yah will allow you some liberty to do things. He's not going to always stop you. Just because you do something don't mean that's what Yah told you to do. He allowed him to take, and this ended up being a snare and a problem unto him. So Yah will teach us a lesson like, say, listen, follow my instructions, do what I tell you to do. If you add onto those instructions or remove onto the instructions, there's going to be some kind of consequence. So just because Yah allows you to do something does not always mean that that's what he wants you to do. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, unto the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanite was then in the land. And Yahweh appeared unto Abram and said, Unto your seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto Yahweh, who appeared unto him. And he removed from there unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Hai on the east. And there he builded an altar unto Yahweh, and called upon the name of Yahweh. And Abraham journeyed, going on still toward the south. And there was a famine in the land. And Abraham went down into Mitzrayim, Egypt, to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land.
All right, we'll stop there. So if he says, I will bless, let's look at the Hebrew word for bless. And Shabbat Shalom, Sister Jasmine Sapp, good to see you. Blessed. The Hebrew word for blessed is barak. Is barak. Barak. H1288. Barak, spelled B-A-R-A-K. And that's a primitive root to kneel, by implication to bless Elohim as an act of adoration, and vice versa, man as a benefit. Also by euphemism, to curse Elohim or the king as treason abundantly altogether at all, blaspheme, bless, congratulate, curse greatly indeed, kneel down, praise, salute, still, thanks. So you see, like, how can, how can it be used differently, but it's talking about as a euphemism, and it just shows you how we are. We the same people that from back then as we are now. You see somebody see the word bad, be like, oh, that's bad. That means she's not good. But then we say, man, that's a bad sister. That's a cold piece right there. So you can see how the words can be used differently, and how it can mean a good thing on one time or a bad thing on another time. But you got to look at the context clues to get a better understanding of what's being said. So that just goes to show you as a people. I don't know other people that do those type of things. That's why other nations get confused when they hear us talk. And we can sit right in front of them and talk in a whole nother language, using the language that the Babel that they gave us, and they still be confused because our words are so much more intricate. So let's move on to Numbers chapter 24, Bamidbar chapter 24. So he had to move Abraham and take him away from what he was used to, so that he would have more time to think, and he would have more time for Yah to deal with him, to prepare him for the next journey that he was going to go on. And Abraham didn't necessarily ask to become a great mighty nation. He probably just give me a child. I just want a kid, a seed, But the Most High may have greater plans for us. And when he has greater plans for us, we got to understand we servants ain't about what I want. Yeah, I want to, own a nice business and have a really nice house and stay in one place and have all my kids here and just live like any man would want to live. And y'all say, nah, I got a greater calling for you. You're going to affect more people than just your household and your family. A whole nation is going to come out of you. So we got to be as servants and don't argue with the Most High. If he's giving you the talent and he's calling you out and he's pushing you a certain direction, you're not gonna get away from that. You're only gonna cause more problems in your life. If a child asks a parent, give me a pet snake because I seen Sammy the Snake on TV, and look here, Daddy, here's a pet cobra. Let me play with it. So the child, who's gonna get blamed
if the parent gives the child a snake? The parent gonna get blamed because the parent, adults are gonna look at the parent like, why would you give this to your child? Well, the child asked for it. I wanted to bless my child. That ain't no blessing. You know what a real blessing is. The child hasn't learned what a real blessing is. So the Father has to bless us with real blessings, even though we think, because we see on TV, all this material stuff is a blessing. Just like a child sees Sammy the snake and think that this is a blessing, but in reality, it's not. So we have to trust the Father. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 24, and Shabbat Shalom, Kim Marie. Good to see you, family.
And when Balaam saw that it pleased Yahweh to bless Yasharal, Israel, he went not as at other times to seek for enchantments, but he set his face toward the wilderness. And Balaam lifted up his eyes, and he saw Israel abiding in his tents according to their tribes, and the spirit of Elohim came upon him. And he took up his parable and said, Balaam, the son of Beor, has said, and the man whose eyes are open has said, he has said, which heard the words of all, which saw the vision of the Almighty falling into a trance, but having his eyes open. How goodly are your tents, O Jacob, and your tabernacles, O Yasharal. As the valleys are, they spread forth, as gardens by the riverside, as the trees of line aloes, which Yahweh has planted, and as cedar trees beside the waters.
All right, so he's looking at these tents. How goodly are these tents? So what is the blessing? Or is the blessing the tents? Because is the tents goodly? Is that what he's looking at? A whole bunch of tents out there? Or is it what's inside those tents? What's inside those tents is the children of Yasharal, the blessing of Yah, the spirit of Yah. And it's symbolic of the vessel, like us. Are we the blessing? Because the flesh blesses those that bless Israel? Because you blessed our flesh? No, we're just the tabernacles. We're the sukkah. We're the pavilion. Inside, that's the blessing, the spirit of Yah. That's what makes great, that spirit. So he's looking upon those things, and he's seeing the symbol of Yasharal dwelling in mighty numbers, and how blessed the world is going to be because of those people, because of spirit that's going to be put inside of those people. And keep in mind, he was being paid, if you read the previous story, paid to try to curse the children of Yasharal. Go ahead.
And one thing that stands out here is how Yah uses nature to describe the things that he's pleased in.
Right.
So like another example of that is 2 Samuel 23, when Dawid speaks about what Yah told him, saying that the man that leads among men shall be as a cloud, as a morning without clouds, as a tender grass spring up after the rain. So it's like, so now here he mentions that they are spread forth as gardens by riversides, as trees of line aloes. And if you know the aloe plant, I was pretty afraid of aloe plants when I was younger, because they just look spiky and they look weird, but there's a lot of nutrients and stuff inside. Right. And when you look at plants and you think, all right, what is Yah keep comparing these things to plants? Plants come up with an intrinsic peace about them, unless it's some poisonous plant with a thorn. And when he explains negative emotions or negative attributes, he talks about they're like thorns, and these people are like briars, dried up plants. So we should seek to emulate nature in those ways, like the peace of plants and the sturdiness. The aloes don't get up and move. Where you plant the aloes, where the aloe is going to stay and draw the nutrients. Although people, put a lot of waste in the ground and stuff, the aloe is not worried about that. Is wherever the nutrients are in the ground, that's what it's going to take up to make sure it has green spreading leaves and things of that nature.
All that stuff, plants, trees, and all that, take all the nutrients of the earth. But what do they do with it afterwards?
Make air for people to breathe.
They give us breath.
Yeah.
They give us spirit, life. That's the breathing. That's the souls, the breathing, the flesh. So they give us life. They give us spirit. They heal us. They do all these different things. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to do the same thing. That was a very good analogy and metaphor. We take the nutrients of the earth. We take what the gifts of the Most High that he created for us, for our purpose, so that we can turn around and give breath back to people. So that's what plants do, and that's what the children of Yasharal to do. And this is why he considers, Yahshua calls them the branch. You know, I see many trees as people, you know, all these metaphors to get us to understand how we can be one with nature, because we are part of nature, and nature does its job. It doesn't give back harm. It gives back life. Praise Yah.
It gives back harm when we harm it, and then
Right.
now all it could do is just like, yo, we got to put this hurricane out, or
Right.
there's too much heat in this area, we got to
Right.
dissipate.
To protect life. It
Exactly.
got and it's the same with us. To protect life, sometimes we got to take life. To protect life, that's the difference between murder and killing.
And you know, as that's an intrinsic part of nature. Like even in the beginning in Genesis, when Cain slew Abel, y'all came back to Cain and was like, the earth has opened up her mouth to receive your brother's blood, and now you're cursed from the earth. And now you're gonna be a vagabond. It's not gonna yield this fruit to you like
Nowhere.
it did at
You're
one
gonna be
point.
constantly, ain't nowhere for you.
And you sowed that curse into it.
All praises. And Shabbat Shalom, Black the Mayor. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you.
Verse 7. He shall pour the water out of his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters, and his king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted. All brought him forth out of Mitzrayim. He has, as it were, the strength of a unicorn, and a unicorn like a rhino. He shall eat up the nations, his enemies, and shall break their bones and pierce them through with his arrows.
Hey, when I see Agag, what comes to your mind when you hear that name?
Was it Nathan or Samuel slew Agag in
Sweet.
pieces?
And people want to think that the priests of Yahweh are some kind of soft, like, because you see the, you know, on TV, the little Euro Gentile with the little curls in his hair, kissing a wall that's hewn. We would never make a hewn wall to be any kind of altar, by the way. But anyways, you know, all the foolishness and biting off the skin off a male, you know, and they associate that with us, like that's how we are, because we're sold in peace. The Most High is sold in peace as well. But when we don't do what we're supposed to do, the Most High is a man of war. It's the same thing with us. And when I see Agag, I remember when he came back and said, who is this guy? Why is he still here? Didn't I tell you to kill off everything? Samuel didn't pray to Yahweh to go, Yahweh, go. Samuel chopped this man into pieces. And this is one of the most righteous priests. So forget what you seen on TV. Forget what you heard. The priests of Yahweh are not nothing to play with. And if you want to question that, go to the second half of the book and see who Yahshua chose to walk with him. He ain't choose the nice guy that work in you know, in the library, that, you know, he's the scribe, he writes. Man, he chose people wielding knives, fishermen, zealots. That means this is a political assassin. Somebody who, while they're being occupied, that's like us going around looking for government officials and then running off. And Yahshua like, yeah, you're my kind of guy. Come here. This is the type of people he picking, because ain't nobody expecting the brother that did all this dirt, or the brother that is deemed the blue collar employee, or whatever the case is not going to be esteemed high. They're not going to expect anything from him. But when he repents, people are saying, surely Emmanuel, surely God is with us. Surely Yah is with him, because I know that ain't that brother. That's the spirit of the Most High, and that's the example. That way we don't rob any of that glory. Y'all get all the glory in that. So I digress. Let's get back. Go ahead.
Verse 9. He couched, he lay down as a lion, as a great lion. Who shall stir him? Blessed is he that blesses you, and cursed is he that curses you.
All right, and that's what was told to Abram. So here he knows the scriptures. He knows Torah. Blessed is he who blesses you, and curses he who curses you. Blessed is he who blesses you, and cursed is you who curses you. So it's the same thing. You, just because you Israel don't mean you can mistreat Israel, man, woman, child, or whoever. If you curse Israel, upright with all, Yasharah, the upright with all. If you curse them, whether they bloodline Israel or in the spirit cleaved on proselyte Israel, you are going to be cursed. Why? Because you're doing wickedness. And especially if you do it to the household of faith. So just because we Israel don't mean we can treat everybody else like crap or treat other people that want to serve or want to learn how to serve the Most High like crap. Now you bringing curses into your own life, because that's not what the ambassador is supposed to do. You don't go to the doctor to get help. And then the doctor, you know what I'm saying, he give you some poison to kill you. He's not going to have a job. He's going to get fired because his job was to help somebody. Now, if he made an accident, that's what he got malpractice insurance for. That's what we got grace for. That's what we got repentance for. That's our malpractice insurance. But at the end of the day, if you willfully try to harm somebody, you're going to lose your position. You're going to lose your job.
Numbers, Bamidbar, chapter 24 and verse 10. And Balak's anger was kindled against Balaam, and he smote his hands together. And Balak said unto Balaam, I called you to curse my enemies, and behold, you have altogether blessed them these 3 times.
So when he talks about he smote his hands, I just see that when you do that, you smote your hands together. Real talk, didn't I tell you behind him? That's what that was. So you know this is brothers. You know this is brothers on both sides. Go ahead.
Verse 11. Therefore now flee you to your place. I thought to promote you unto great honor, but lo, Yahweh has kept you back from honor.
Go ahead.
And Balaam said unto Balak, spoke I not also to your messengers, which you sent unto me, saying, if Balak would give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the commandment of Yahweh to do either good or bad of my own mind. But what Yahweh says, that will I speak.
And that's how we need to be. I don't care if you're going to bless me with $1 million, you're going to give me a congregation that can fit 100,000 people, or you're going to make me the president of Yasharal or whatever, you know, some made up title. It doesn't matter. I don't care what honor or gold or whatever you give me. I cannot go beyond what Yahweh has told me, either good or evil. And he's a prophet. So Yahweh is more intimately talking to him. We ain't no prophets. At least Yahweh ain't told me in no vision or dream I'm a prophet. And none of my brothers either haven't told me nothing like that. So we cannot go any further, good or evil, other than what Yah has gave us in these holy scriptures. That is the job of a servant of the Most High. And unfortunately, in this world, while the adversary, the devil, is running the powers that be, the principalities in high places, we're going to get punished for that. But if you want to be a servant of the Most High, you got to be willing to accept that, because you know what's going to come on the end of that. On the back end, on the forever part, is the blessings. Not only at the end, but also while you in that. Because even you being mistreated or separated for certain people, sometimes that's a blessing for you. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And now behold, I go unto my people. Come therefore, and I will advertise you what this people shall do, and your people in the latter days. And he took up his parable and said, Balaam, the son of Beor, has said, the man whose eyes are open has said, he has said, which heard the words of all, and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw the vision of the Almighty, falling into a trance, but having his eyes open. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not near. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Yasharal, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Seth. And Edom shall be a possession. Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies, and Yasharal shall do valiantly. Out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion, and shall destroy him that remains of the city. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable, and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. And he looked on the Kenites, and took up his parable, and said, Strong is your dwelling place, and you put your nest in a rock. Nevertheless, the Kenites shall be wasted until Ashur shall carry you away captive. And he took up his parable, and said, Alas, who shall live when all does this? And ships shall come from the coast of Kittim, and shall afflict Ashur, and shall afflict Eber, and he also shall perish forever.
So where's Kittim?
That's Rome.
And where are they going to afflict? Asher, which is Assyria and all that, Babylon, basically, and Eber. That's what Eber is. That's what makes you Hebrew. Abar, Abarim, the Hebrews. So it's going to afflict that whole Babylonian culture, that whole Babylonian area, Mesopotamia, or all that stuff happened. And those people are going to be taken down. And when all this happens, who is being prophesied here? Out of Yaakov from verse 19. Who's being prophesied?
Hamashiach.
Hamashiach. He didn't just show up in the New Testament. All these things. This is why they said, are you here to restore the kingdom in the New Testament? It wasn't because he just looked like somebody that was described. It's because he was described in here. The type of character, the type of person that was going to come with this word. Now, Hamashiach was the physical person that was coming to do that. But the spirit that was coming to do that was the word. And the word was the firstborn spirit, Yasharal. That's what we are born from. That's why we are called Yasharal. That's why we're Israelites. Because Israel was that firstborn spirit, which was the word, which was then made into flesh. That's the blessing. The blessing is we were born of that. That's why we are now in Isaiah chapter 41. Some will call themselves by the name Yah. Some will call themselves by the name Yaakov. And some will surname themselves and give their hand and take the name Yasharal. Ban Yasharal, son of Yasharal. Bane, or Bat Yasharal, daughter of Yasharal. Go ahead.
And that concludes Numbers 24. Oh, verse 25. And Balaam rose up and went and returned his way to his place, and Balak also went his way.
All right. So this is the good news. This is part of the good news that Yasharal is coming back. And he came and he did this example for us so that we could know how to walk with that same spirit, because we were born. John chapter 1, and we are not born of flesh. We're not born of man. We're born of Elohim. That's what makes us Yasharal. That's why we're not called Yahwehites, or we're not called Yahites, or whatever the case, Yahuites, or whatever. We call Yasharal because we are born after that firstborn spirit by the authority of Yah. All right, so let's go to Devarim chapter 28. And when we hear that chapter, we immediately think the curses. Deuteronomy chapter 28. Next book over. Deuteronomy chapter 28. And we're going to read 1 through 14. And this, the Bible that we are reading, Miss Lisa Giles Mack, we are, oh, Auntie Lisa. All right. All praises, all praises. All right. So we're reading out of a King James, the same Bible Grandma used, same exact Bible. So King James Bible, and my brother is reading out of the
RSB.
Restored Restoration Study Bible. So I'm reading out of a Schofield King James Study Bible, and he's reading out of an RSB Restored Study Bible. And Shalom, I missed the name. I missed it. I was too late. Totaya, I believe it was. I'm sorry, the comment passed, so I meant to say something. So Shabbat Shalom to you as well.
Deuteronomy, Devarim, chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if you shall hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command you this day, that Yahweh your Elohim will set you on high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come on you and overtake you, if you shall hearken unto the voice of Yahweh your Elohim.
So the blessing's already here. It's already here. The curses aren't here. The blessings are already here. By default, we have it. All these will overtake you, which means they're gonna come over you. So they're already here. The problem is, if you shall hearken to the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, that's what you need to do to keep it. Just like money. If you want money, you got to keep the money. If you give the money away, then you lost the money temporarily for the moment. So it's the same obstacle here. We have the blessings here, but we have to retain the blessings. He's telling, just listen to me. Just do good. It's not like he's asking us just save the world. No, he just said, just do good. Just do right to one another and anybody you deal with. You ain't got to travel to the other ends of the earth to go do good to somebody over there. He didn't ask us that. Certain people have that calling, but in general, just do righteousness and you're going to get these blessings. And the issue is every time we go to Deuteronomy 28, the first thing we think about is the curses, because that's what identifies who we are, because we obviously didn't listen. So this is what proves who Israel are. When you read, we're only going to go through 14 because we're not getting the curses today. But if you go past from verse 15 on, you're going to see the curses, and that's who identifies who we are. But Yah is looking for a remnant of people to prove who Yasharal is through the blessings. So this is our charge. Those people that prove that are already sealed in this book. Well, the book is still continuing. The book of life is still continuing. And our names are being written. And our testimony is being written. And can we be those to prove that we Israel by the blessings? That means we got to learn how to keep these commandments and continue doing them.
Excuse me, brother.
Go ahead, Elder.
Shalom to you.
Shabbat shalom, brother.
Add something on that because since we getting books in the Torah, people need to understand. We all need to understand that Yahweh is the same in the beginning, it is in the present, it is in the future. And he states the same thing what you just read in the first verse in Revelation chapter 22, verse 14, dealing with being blessed. So I wanted to read that one verse, so when you do read Deuteronomy, maybe it can solidify or resonate with people in their heart and their minds, about what we should be doing. And it says, blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life,
right,
and may enter in through the gates into the city. But we also know that a lot of people, even back in the day, we used to think when we had no knowledge of this that we blessed because, we got out of a situation or, like you said once, you used to race motorcycles, so you kiss your little cross, and say everything was all right. I got through this problem, almost died here, but I got through this problem here, and we did the same thing, we didn't realize that Yahweh is allowing a little grace to fall upon us to give us some time so we can get a clue, he gives us knowledge to hear when he speaks to us. Because most of the time our ears are too closed to hear that voice. Our heart is not right, but, so we're going to hear Yahweh's voice. So, when people be talking about they're blessed and highly favored, they really don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
Because they have not really ventured to really read these scriptures to understand what Yahweh is trying to tell his children on how you get blessed. If
Right.
you're not keeping the commandments, how can you be blessed if you're not keeping the commandments, orders, and statutes? So we have to look at that thing and realize that we all hanging on by a thread. And if we don't know the day we're going to die, and hopefully Yahweh will allow us to hear his voice so we will be able to come unto him to do his mighty will. So I just wanted to put that piece in there right quick.
Right. And, we actually read that when we were talking about favor, receiving favor and rebuking and receiving admonition. You receive favor when you help subvert somebody that's heading towards death, that's about to get in some problem. That's how you get favor. You don't just get favor because you nice or something like that. And we saw right here in 28 how you get blessed when you bless Israel. And if you Israel, you bless yourself by keeping the commandments, by doing the right thing, or you bless another person by keeping the commandments towards them. So you can't be blessed and highly favored if you're not blessing Israel and you're not admonishing and taking admonishment properly from individuals, because you're not blessing yourself and you're not blessing anybody else. So in other words, you just receiving grace, and grace is something you receive that you didn't deserve. You just got that. You didn't do anything to get that extra grace period on your mortgage. You just got that by default. Now you can use it to your benefit or you can use it to your hurt. So we do ourselves a disservice when we thinking we special. Yahweh just going to allow us to do whatever we want. That's what makes us special. Now that's what makes you cursed if he just let you do whatever you want. Because like he said, like the elder said, all the way in Revelation, ain't none of this stuff changing. The same in the beginning, same to the end. if you do these things, you're going to bring a curse upon you. Period.
Devarim, chapter 28 and verse 3.
And Shabbat Shalom, brother Brian Greenlee. Good to see you, family, and Karima Greenlee. Good to see y'all.
Blessed shall you be in the city, and blessed shall you be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of your body, and the fruit of your ground, and the fruit of your cattle, the increase of your kind, and the flocks of your sheep. Blessed shall be your basket and your store. Blessed shall you be when you come in, and blessed shall you be when you go out.
Because you're keeping the commandments. Your store, whether you're storing stuff, whether your field is blessed, whether you're eating it, whether it's in your hand, whether it's your flock, whatever the case may be, you're going to be blessed with that. Why? Because you're keeping the commandments. And the commandments tell you when you have an abundance of stuff, look to feed the poor, the fatherless, the stranger, anybody that needs. And he says, like in Malachi chapter 3, that your storehouse is going to be overflowed. That's tithing. That's tithing. It's going to be overflowed with stuff. Now, you doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be overflowed with stuff because you turn around and you give Pastor Long Dollar a $8,000 check thinking that's going to bless you. But you got starving people in your assembly. Why are you not going to the starving people in your assembly that you can clearly see them because they way in the back? They're not going to be anywhere near the prestige, and feed those people, help those people, and watch how your storehouse is overflowed with stuff.
Verse 5. Blessed shall be your basket and your store. Blessed shall you be when you come in, and blessed shall you be when you go out. Yahweh shall cause your enemies that rise up against you to be smitten before your face. They shall come out against you one way and flee before you 7 ways. Yahweh shall command the blessing upon you in your storehouses and in all that you set your hand unto, and he shall bless you in the land which Yahweh your Elohim gives you. Yahweh shall establish you a holy people unto himself, as he has sworn unto you, if you shall keep the commandments of Yahweh your Elohim and walk in his ways.
So this is the only way that you can be a holy people. If you shall keep the commandments of Yahweh your Elohim and walk in his ways. So the commandments is you got to do all this. Then you have to walk in his ways. So you have to also see how he deals with things that aren't necessarily a commandment. What is good? What is a right thing to do? How do you handle something? The commandment says you do this or you don't do that. And here's the judgment. Here's the penalty. Then beyond that, that is the law is a lamp. The commandments is a lamp and the law is the light. So you have the commandments, which is the lamp. And then the light. You still got to use the light portion to light a place up. A lamp without a light is nothing. It's just a lamp. It's in darkness like everybody else. So we got to learn his ways, and you got to see how Yah deals with things. How he has a way to condescend to lower people. How he has a way to put other people first. How he has a way of being fair and equitable and doing things and being patient with people. Not giving evil for evil every time. But eventually you're going to receive you'll reap what you sow. So we got to learn his ways, which means this entire book, all his people, all of that, everything, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, all that are his ways. And we have to learn how to apply that. And his ways, some of his ways may be a transgression of commandment for us. We not Elohim. We can't do those things. That's why we got commandments. So we know where we can stop because we are not him. And that's why I draw a problem with other groups that try to make themselves and take that concept of we are mighty ones a little too far. You're not the creator. You can't create. You didn't create all of this just because you part of the creator. You shouldn't be taking credit for that. You are a creation. And that's why I did with Nuwabian mind frame and all that 5%er stuff. Nah, bro, you can't even create yourself from not getting in trouble with the police. But you gonna make yourself the creator? No, you're not. You a creator. If you got a mom and dad, you ain't create this, bro. But you still a mighty one. But don't misunderstand what he was saying about some of you are like gods. You're mighty. You're mighty when this word is within you, when the spirit is in you, and you do your job.
Deuteronomy 28 and verse 10. And all people of the earth shall see that you are called by the name of Yahweh, and they shall be afraid of you. And Yahweh shall make you plenteous in goods, in the fruit of your body, and in the fruit of your cattle, and in the fruit of your ground, in the land which Yahweh swore unto your fathers to give you. Yahweh shall open unto you his good treasure, the heaven to give the rain unto your land in his season, and to bless all the work of your hand. And you shall lend unto many nations, and you shall not borrow. And Yahweh shall make you the head and not the tail, and you shall be above only, and you shall not be beneath. If that you hearken unto the commandments of Yahweh your Elohim, which I command you this day, to observe and to do them. And you shall not go aside from any of the words which I command you this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them.
All right, so this lets you know, all these commas is letting you know to go after other gods to serve them. How you do that is when you go aside from any of the words which I command you this day, to the right hand or left. You going after other gods to serve, because that's what the adversary, the devil, does. That's his whole MO. Adversary. Live, mirror image, evil. All right, let's move on. Let's go to Psalms, Tehillim, chapter 122. And thank goodness I'm not in the 1611, because I wouldn't be able to find those Roman numerals.
Oh, man.
I think it's like a C. Is it 100? I think so. Is it a C?
I think so.
So I might have been able to find that. It would
L
be
is 50.
CXXII. I think so. I don't know.
Yeah. Psalms chapter 22, 122. Psalms chapter 122 and verse 1. I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of Yahweh. Our feet shall stand within your gates, O Jerusalem. Jerusalem is builded as a city that is compact together, where tribes go up, Torah. The tribes of Yah, unto the testimony of Yasharal, to give thanks unto the name of Yahweh. For there are set thrones of judgment, the thrones of the house of Dawid. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. They shall prosper that love you.
All right. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. They shall prosper that love you. Now, Jerusalem, we know, is a city. But Jerusalem is also the land. Jerusalem is also the mother of us all. Jerusalem is also the people, the body. Blessed is those that bless Israel, cursed is those that curse Israel. We're blessed as those that pray. When you praying for the body of Yasharal, you praying for Jerusalem. Peace is going to be unto you, because you are blessing Israel. You're blessing the body. So this is how we cannot treat one another in the assembly any kind of way, because you cursing Yasharal. So when it's talking about blessed is those that pray for Yasharal, for Jerusalem, is talking about the people. Go ahead.
Verse 7. Peace be within your walls and prosperity within your palaces. For my brethren and companions' sake, I will now say peace be within you. Because of the house of Yahweh our Elohim, I will seek your good.
All right. So we got to keep that in mind. Peace for those that pray for Jerusalem. So we need to pray for our land. We need to pray for our people. We need to pray for our assembly. Thank you, sister, for that. Yeshayah chapter 65. Isaiah chapter 65. I'm sorry. My bad. Psalms 128. I skipped that one. Go down a few more to Psalms 128. Tehillim chapter 128. So, keeping the commandments and all that sums up everything. but we also should have a mind frame towards deliberate things that we're doing, deliberate blessings that we're trying to do. When we see our brothers and sisters in the street, we need to always have that in our mind. Peace for those who pray for Jerusalem. Pray for one another. You know what I'm saying? Don't just pray for your own situation. Pray for your brothers and sisters. Pray for your general assembly. People that are part of your assembly you never even met. Pray for it. Pray for one another. Bless each other. And to bless each other, it's very simple. Just keep the commandments towards one another. You don't have to do anything above that. You keep the commandments to one another. Your understanding is going to increase. And you're going to be doing well over what you're supposed to do. Just keeping the commandments, because you're going to learn better how to keep these commandments. But first, you got to start at that base level, like my daughter who just started kindergarten. Stand in a line, nap time, do this. Make sure you can't throw the frisbee this way and all. You know, just start with the basic stuff. And by the time you get to college, you doing, you know, in your major. You doing surgery. You doing all types of things in your practice.
Psalms, Tehillim, chapter 128 and verse 1. Blessed is everyone that fears Yahweh, that walks in his ways.
So who it is that fears Yahweh? Everyone that what?
Walks in his commandments.
Right. That's who fears Yahweh. When you walk in his commandments. Let me see that word. That's Yahweh for fear it.
33:73. 33:73.
Should be Yahweh. Yep, Yahweh. H3373, which is spelled Y-A-R-E. We're at Tehillim, chapter 128, and Yahweh, fear, so that you understand what he means. It don't mean like Yah is at the door. Oh my God, cool, take off running, because that's what our people did when the angels showed up. Whoo, they was out. They feared, because they knew they wasn't right, so they was afraid. They already knew what time it was when Yah come around. That's not what he wants from us. He wants us to have Yahweh, which is fearing, morally reverent, afraid and fearful. Now, afraid and fearful in what sense? Oh my goodness, here he is. Run away. No, that's not what parent wants their child. Like, daddy's here. Oh my goodness, take off running. No, this is the opposite. When daddy's here, this was the highlight of my day. Coming home from work. And daddy. But my children, Yahweh me, they fear in a moral reverence. I don't want daddy to be upset with me, because daddy's so good to me. He takes care of me. He just bought me these brand new shoes. He keeps a roof over my head. He teaches me right from wrong. He shows me how a man is supposed to love a woman. All these type of things. That's what he's asking for when he says those that fear. And when you have reverence for the Most High, you keeping his commandments, because, man, Yah has been so great. Even look at this foolishness I just did. For 30 years, this foolishness I did. And when he gave me eyesight to see my way, he was patient enough for me to learn how to undo all the stuff that I did. I fear not receiving that kind of grace and mercy from him. I fear not having the understanding that he has now given me, putting me back to how I used to be. Those are the things that I fear. So I'm going to show him that I love him, and I'm going to keep his commandments, and I'm going to do everything that he's asking of me, because he deserves it. And I fear not giving him the love that he gave me. That's what he means. Go ahead.
Verse 2. For you shall eat the labor of your hands. Happy shall you be, and it shall be well with you. The wife shall be as a fruitful vine by the sides of your house, your children like olive plants around your table.
And when it's talking about the wife being fruitful, it's not only talking about from the physical sense of having children, but she's fruitful as far as the fruit of the spirit, because she got a wise husband. She got a husband that studies, that does righteousness, that teaches his household. So that woman is going to manifest that. When she opens her mouth, the fruits of the spirit are coming out. Love, joy, peace, long suffering, all these things. Just like how the virtuous women would cause men to come around her to act righteous just by watching her behavior. She didn't even have to say a word. They just watched with her chaste fear of the Most High and how she carried herself. Brother stepping it up. Just like when a sister wear a head wrap. I've yet to see a sister with a head wrap on and worldly dudes. Hey, little mama. Hey, sexy. Hey, shawty. I've never seen that in public. But what I have seen is, hey, sister. Hey, shalom, sister. Even worldly brothers calling her sister. What makes you, how's she your sister all of a sudden?
Or queen.
Right, queen, empress. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff. Because she see, oh, you different from that worldly woman. You ain't with the mouth. You out here with your behavior showing that you are disciplined, you are cultured, and you got a covering. Somebody covering you. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Behold, that thus shall the man be blessed that fears Yahweh. Yahweh shall bless you out of Zion, and you shall see the good of Jerusalem all the days of your life. Yea, you shall see your children's children, and peace upon Yasharal.
All right, all praises. All right, now we can go to Yeshayah chapter 65, Isaiah chapter 65. Because, you know, blessed is those who bless Israel. Everybody ain't blessing Israel, especially all of Yasharal. All of Yasharal ain't blessing Yasharal. So at the end of the day, we need to see who gonna be blessed. It ain't gonna be everybody. And it ain't gonna be most of us. And that's what we gotta understand. It's gonna be a small amount of people. And if that doesn't give you a reality check of that we need to look at our ways, ain't nothing gonna give you a reality check. Because Yahweh gonna make it clear who he gonna bless. And how many people he gonna bless.
Yeshayah, Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 1. I am sought of them that asked not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me unto a nation that was not called by my name. I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people, which walks in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts. A people that provoke me to anger continually to my face, that sacrifices in gardens and burns incense upon altars of brick.
So, altars of brick. We just talked about that. These altars. The altar is supposed to be made out of unhewn stone. So you got to make brick. So you doing some straight vanity because it look nice. So you not, instead of saying, Yah, for whatever reason, which I don't understand, maybe one day he'll give me the understanding, but he says, no, your altar needs to be unhewn, which means uncut stone. You need to take stones and pile them up in a way that they can come together. Don't alter the natural shapes. Put them together. But they're making altars of brick. Go ahead.
Which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh, and broth of abominable things is in their vessels.
What's that called? Gumbo? Eating gumbo with an altar made of brick, eating gumbo full of swine's flesh, worshiping other gods. I just don't see how much more unclean you can be. Go ahead.
Which say, stand by yourself, come not near to me, for I am holier than you. These are a smoke in my nose, a fire that burns all the day.
Over there. Don't come near me. I'm too holy for you. You are a smoke in the nose, a fire that burns all day to the Most High. Because if you consider yourself holier than somebody, shouldn't you be helping your brother become holy? If you holier, no, you just showing you are not holier than anybody. If you're refusing to help your brother, if you see he's not in a Kodesh state.
Behold, it is written before me, I will not keep silence, but will recompense, even recompense into their bosom. Your iniquities and the iniquities of your fathers together, says Yahweh, which have burned incense upon the mountains and blasphemed me upon the hills. Therefore will I measure their former work into their bosom. And thus, Yahweh, as the new wine is found in the cluster, and one says, destroy it not, for a blessing is in it. So will I do for my servants' sakes, that I may not destroy them all. And I will bring forth a seed out of Jacob and out of Yehuda, an inheritor of my mountains, and mine elect shall inherit it, and my servants shall dwell there. And Sharon shall be a fold of flocks, and the valley of Achor a place for the herds to lie down in. For my people that have sought me. But you are they that forsake Yahweh, that forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for that troop, and that furnish the drink offering into that number.
All right, let's look at that word. Prepare a table for that troop. And we're going to go back and we're going to tie that to that whole blessed and highly favored. But God, all that stuff. We're going to see where that came from. Isaiah chapter 65. And what number was that?
This
For
is
troop.
verse 11.
And what's the word right there?
H1409, God.
H1409. God. So furnish a table for that troop. What was originally here was God. G-A-W-D. H1409. There was a real pagan entity. And God is H1409 in the sense of distributing fortune. Distributing fortune, a troop. And if you look that up and Google that and do a little Wikipedia search or whatever the case, or encyclopedia, you're going to see this was a Phoenician deity of fortune. This is why God is associated with receiving money and blessings, what they call blessings. Because to a non-believer, money is blessing. Because money is what's going to give them everything. But to a believer, the spirit of Yah is the blessing, because it's going to give you what's going to truly be a blessing in your life. So those that are looking for money, they trying to worship God so that you can put money and give money and you're going to get a whole bunch of money back, like a financial investment. That's where that comes from. This is what's being taught. Go ahead.
Verse 12. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and you shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, you did not answer. When I spoke, you did not hear, but did evil before my eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. Therefore thus says my sovereign Yahweh, behold, my servants shall eat, but you shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but you shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but you shall be ashamed. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but you shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit.
So that lets you know tribulation, famine, and dearth is coming upon the earth in these latter days. And those who keep the commandments are going to eat and be happy. Those who don't are going to suffer. And money ain't going to do nothing for you. Go ahead.
And you shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen, for my sovereign Yahweh shall slay you and call his servants by another name. That he who blesses himself in the earth shall bless himself in the Elohim of truth. And he that swears in the earth shall swear by the Elohim of truth, because the former troubles are forgotten, and because they are hid from mine eyes. For behold, I create new heavens and new earth, and the former shall not be remembered nor come into mind. But be you glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, and joy in my people, and the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying.
So for that to happen, the wicked got to be removed, because the wicked is what's causing people to cry. So the wicked got to be removed, and unfortunately, the only way to cleanse the land is through the blood of the sinner. So there's going to be a lot of bloodshed. Go ahead.
There shall be no more there an infant of days, nor an old man that has not filled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old, but the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. And they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For as the days of a tree are the days of my people, and my elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth for trouble, for they are the seed of the blessed of Yahweh, and their offspring with them. And it shall come to pass that before they call I will answer, and while they are yet speaking I will hear. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, says Yahweh.
All right, so this new heaven, this new earth, and the millennial kingdom, the sabbatical kingdom that they're talking about here, when they're saying there shall be no more an infant of days, nor an old man that has not filled his days, for the child shall die 100 years. Why is that child dying 100 years old? Why is he dying anyways? But the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. So he's letting you know. Because you're a sinner, you dying at 100 years old. Because in this kingdom, there's peace. It's sin that causes death. So there shouldn't be these things going on in the kingdom, because the devil is put away for 1,000 years during this sabbatical kingdom. But yet, despite all that, even with the devil being put away, certain people are still going to find a way to get themselves into problems. Even with the devil being put away, they just refuse to let that old spirit, that old Babylonian ways of things dissipate. And we got the example of that when we left Egypt. Mm-hmm. Everybody over 20 years and older that left Egypt died in that wilderness, except for Caleb and Yahshua. Those two. So it's the same thing going to happen when we go back into the kingdom. Those that refuse to get with the new program, which is righteousness 24/7. You had to be some kind of righteousness to at least make it to that part of the kingdom. But now you dying at 100 years old when you should have been at least 1,000. At least.
And did you get to respond to Brandon about repeating the Strong's number? Did he?
I didn't see the question.
1409.
All right. So the Strong's number
for God, troop.
Oh, for troop. The Strong's number. And Shabbat Shalom, brother Brandon Pierce. Good to see you. The Strong's for troop is H1409 for God. H1409. God spelled Gawd.
Did we finish that, or did we stop at
I think we finished that. Yeah,
okay.
We finished that. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Let's go to Timothy chapter 4. 1 Timothy chapter 4.
First Timothy chapter 4 and verse 1.
And we got to understand that, blessings are also these gifts that we have. Those are blessings, because the gifts that we have can be used to bless Israel. That's a blessing to you. The better capacity you have to bless your people is the better capacity you have to be blessed, because you're given more tools to bless. But it's also just like the man that had 1 talent, the man that had 2, and the man that had 5. The one that had 2, he doubled his and came back and had 4. He blessed Israel, blessed Yahweh, but he still had less than the guy that had started off with 5. So the guy with 1, he took and he buried his. He took his talent and buried his, talking about he was afraid. The Most High said, I didn't get no increase from that. You could have gave it to somebody else to use your talents. If you can't use your own talent, you could have went with somebody else and then they could have worked with you to manifest your talent. But instead you said, no, I don't want to deal with it. So that could be a curse unto you. So we have to use our blessings, our talents, to bless our nation, because Yahweh is coming like a sales manager with those numbers. The report says you're not producing. What you doing with this talent? Take it from him. Send him to the outer darkness. He'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth, and I'm going to give your talent and give it to another servant.
1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 1. Now the Spirit speaks expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils.
And we're seeing this right now. We're seeing a lot of people, that we, some of the newer people that came into the word, watching these great videos of these great people that put these great presentations with scripturally sound information. Next thing you know, they worshiping an aqua god, or they worshiping some random thing, or they not even Hebrew no more. They just Pan-Africanism. I don't even know where Pan-Africa is. Is that a place? Go ahead.
Verse 2, speaking lies and hypocrisy.
I know the Panhandle in Florida, but is there a Pan of Africa?
Speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, forbidding to marry and commanding to abstain from meats which Elohim has created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth.
All right. So this is talking about people that are going, the super brews. That's going way, way, way beyond for their own motivation is why they're doing this. Forbidding to marry. Usually somebody that's forbidding people to marry, they bitter as hell because stuff ain't work out in their marriage, right? Or they wife didn't want to listen to them, so they trying to forbid everybody to marry. Or they homosexual, so they don't want nobody else to do something. They want everybody to be like them. Then you have commanded to abstain from meats. Now, there's no need to talk about abstaining from eating unclean meats. That shouldn't even be a discussion. We all know we're not supposed to eat unclean meats. But people that are saying, okay, well, since we don't do animal sacrifices no more, there's no need to eat meat. Well, that's your choice. There's no commandment against that. Now, you want to say, hey, let's do this or do that. That may be good for you. That's a suggestion. But you can't command somebody, you can't do something. You're adding unto the word. You're doing more. Now, looking at the condition of the meat that we eat today, I can see why we pull back on meat. And that's why part of the reason why we don't eat meat on the Shabbat for most of the part, for our Sabbath meals. But we're not commanding nobody. Now you causing somebody to be feel weak in the word because he's already struggling to keep commandments, but you heaping up all these other super brew commandments on them, making them feel like worse of a sinner than they really are, instead of focusing on the things that they really need to work on. Go ahead.
Verse 4, for every...
Go ahead, brother. Elder.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up something since you talked about that, I mean.
Can you speak up, Elder?
Back in the day, we used to talk about, I can eat what I want because it's supposed to be with prayer and supplication, you can eat what you want. Let no man tell you with meat you can eat, but don't realize they're taking that thing totally out of context. If they truly, study their Torah and understand, the disciples and so forth, who they were, what they did, so forth like that, they realize that in the commandment that you don't eat, unclean food because it defiles the body. You cannot come before the Father. It defiles your spirit, and He commanded not to do those things. But, a lot of people take this in the Word and don't understand what it truly means because they don't do the research to realize that you're not supposed to eat these unclean foods, So I'm glad you mentioned, that we should know by now, they're not talking about that. You're not supposed to eat those unclean foods. He's talking about something else, So I just want to bring that point up, and you probably have more to say on that, but I just wanted to bring that point up because we're at that area right now where we're speaking about it. And a lot of our younger brothers and sisters might be a little on a level of confusion on that, and also probably dealing with family members that, that's not walking in the Word and don't know the truth. And they probably have issues, sometimes with family when they go to outings and the family say, you don't want to eat this pork, you don't want to eat this, these like you say, gumbo or whatever. They say, well, you used to, but yet I don't do that anymore because the scripture says I'm not supposed to do that in Leviticus chapter 11, so, and the disciples didn't do these things. So, that's why I brought that point up, brothers, and maybe you might want to elaborate on it a little bit so people our brothers and sisters can understand a little better.
Right. Yeah, good example. I know you brought this up in our previous classes about Kepha, Peter. When he had that vision He said, no, wait, no, I didn't. I've never ate nothing common or unclean. Or I can't eat this. And then he realized, okay, he's not talking about eating these unclean animals. He said, call no man common or unclean. You know, if he's going to walk in righteousness. So even there, well after, you know what I'm saying, what's going on, you still see the disciples and apostles still like confused. Well, I know you're not telling me to eat unclean food. That would never be in their mind. Y'all, we just read, I am holy, so you be holy. I will make you a holy people. The Most High never commanded us to sacrifice an unclean animal, an animal we couldn't eat. He never said, go bring me 10 pigs to go sacrifice. Nah, it's unclean. So if y'all wouldn't even accept that as a sacrifice, how are we going to eat that food? Because that's what we did with the sacrifice. We ate the food after we sacrificed. What we didn't burn away, we ate. So the Most High would never, Yahshua did not die so you can eat a pork hot dog. He did not die for that. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. If that's the case, then he died so you can rape people, so you can kill people. No, he didn't die to change the commandments. He died to give us grace period for the law of sin and death, which means an animal don't have to die or a person doesn't have to die right now because of sin. Nobody in this book in this time was thinking that they were saying you could eat unclean food. No. But if you're not taught these commandments and you don't know what an unclean food is, you're going to read to justify what you want to do because you don't want to keep the commandments. Go ahead.
1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 4. For every creature of Elohim is good and nothing to be refused if it be received with thanksgiving. A
creature of Elohim. You got to also understand you have certain creatures, certain animals that was made and allowed to be sacrificed. That would be a different category. They even had laws pertaining to when you are going to sacrifice a certain animal, you had to bring that animal to the temple and give that to the priest. And if you were too far away, then you had to sacrifice a different type of animal, like a deer or something like that. You couldn't do the ox or you couldn't do the lamb. There was laws pertaining to that. And furthermore, if you think that this is talking about any food because it's a creature of Elohim, are you not a creature of Elohim? So go ahead and have you a Yonatan barbecue then. Have you a barbecue Yonatan leg. The brother run track, so you know he got some good strong legs for you to eat. That's foolishness. We would never think that. So how do we know not to think that, not to eat that?
Through the law of Yah.
Because the law of Yah says that's unclean and that's murder. So stop playing with this word. Go ahead.
Verse 5. For it is sanctified by the word of Elohim and prayer.
So you're going to sanctify some Yonatan ribs?
It's not sanctified with the word. Don't say that.
I don't care how much you pray over it. It ain't going to be unclean. Then you're going to have to deal with the assembly because you know, killed our brother. Go ahead.
If you put the brethren in remembrance of these things, you shall be a good minister of Yahshua Mashiach, nourished up in the words of faith and of good doctrine, whereunto you have attained. But refuse profane and old wives' fables, and exercise yourself rather unto righteousness. For bodily exercise profits little, but holiness is profitable unto all things, having promise of life that now is, and of that which is to come.
So don't say bodily exercise is bad for you. It just profits a little bit, because you can be the biggest, strongest guy in the world, muscle builder, but if you ain't walking in righteousness, you weak. You weak like a newborn baby. Go ahead.
For verse 9. Mm-hmm. This is a faithful saying and worthy of all acceptation. For therefore we both labor and suffer reproach, because we trust in the living Elohim, who is the Savior of all men, especially of those that believe. These things command and teach. Let no man despise your youth, but be you an example of the believers in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity.
And this is what they try to deal with Yahshua on. You ain't even 50 yet. And you over here talking all that. Man, look here. Don't let nobody despise your youth. We under 50. We know we not supposed to be up here doing this. We don't have a choice. We are in an emergency state. We are captive. We are captive people. We don't even have a temple. We don't even have a land. We don't have a nationality. We black. We a color. We from black land. We from a whole continent. We don't have anything. So these are not normal times. We supposed to be over here, sitting here listening to an elder who was taught by another elder, who was taught by another elder, who was taught by elders that are all under high priest. But that's not the case. So that means the young man got to step up. Yeshua had to step up. His disciples had to step up. They weren't elders when he met them and brought them in. So we got to do what we got to do. So don't allow nobody to talk down to you because you are youth. Don't let nobody despise you. You do good works, do righteousness, respect the elder, because that's a commandment. You give him double honor, which means you're going to correct the elder. You don't go to him by yourself. You say, hey, Jonathan, the elder said something that was kind of off. It doesn't make sense. Listen, does this make sense? He's saying this, but the commandment says this. No, you're wrong, brother. The elder was right. You're not looking at the Hebrew. Oh, okay, thank you. That way you don't make yourself a fool trying to go approach an elder who's been in this word for quite some time and has life experience. So you don't embarrass yourself. So you give him honor. But yet it also says to the elder, don't be down talking these young people. Don't despise them because you wish you was young again. Encourage him. Guide him. Use his zeal and his youth to your advantage. But don't despise him by elevating yourself above him. The greatest among you shall be servant of them all. So you should be making yourself feel better because you're older than somebody. But at the same time, we respect the order. 20 years old before you can start fetching water and doing certain things. 25 years old before you can bring that water in. 30 years old before you can have a charge and start doing holy things. 50 years old before you start ministering in the priest office. Follow the order. You can teach, but before you start taking those elder responsibilities, those priestly responsibilities, those holy things, follow the order of the Most High.
Verse 13. Till I come, give attendance to reading, exhortation, to doctrine. Neglect not the gift that is in you, which was given you by prophecy with the laying on of the hands of the presbytery. Meditate upon these things. Give yourself wholly to them, that your profiting may appear to all.
Give yourself wholly to them. So if you have this gift and you have this ability that was given through prophecy, because it says in Yoel, in the latter days, the young men will have vision and the handmaids will prophesy and do all those things. This is by prophecy that we're going to receive the Spirit to do all these great works. So don't neglect those things. Meditate. Think about how you can use your abilities, the same abilities you try to use in the world to benefit your pocketbook. Meditate on those things and give yourself wholly to those things. I was a good speaker. I was a good, studious person. I could grasp concepts. I was great at motivating people. I was used to being in front of a camera as an actor. I had all these different things. So once I learned that these things could be used for Yah, give yourself wholly. Now that should be what all your emphasis and attention goes to, and whatever's left over is for the world. Not the world so you can get on the top and whatever's left over to Yah. That's a flawed sacrifice. He wants the best that you have, the first fruits of Yah. Go ahead.
Verse 16, take heed unto yourself and unto the doctrine. Continue in them, for in doing this you shall both save yourself and them that hear you.
You shall save yourself and them that hear you. All right, let's go to Zechariah chapter 8. Excuse me, let's skip that. Philippians chapter 4. Philippians chapter 4. Philippians chapter 4. And we're going to start this at verse 1. And a blessing is, when you have a good parent. That's a blessing. In this society, it's a blessing just to have one good parent. But to have two good parents, man, you are blessed above high measure, above most people in this earth. So to have a good parent that takes care of you and supplies all your needs, you are blessed. So if you make Yah your father, and you make Yah your father by doing the things necessary to get him, what are you doing up there? Get down from there. I look up there and see a little poof up there that's 10 feet tall. I said, wait, that don't add up. When you have a parent that takes care of you, you are blessed. And if you make Yah your parent, your father, by submitting to him, because whoever's will you do, that's who you serve, that's your father, his works you will do, then you have a father that's going to supply everything you need. There's not a better father in this earth or in heaven than the Most High Yah.
Philippians chapter 4 and verse 1. Therefore, my brethren, dearly beloved and longed for, my joy and crown, so stand fast in the Master, my dearly beloved. I beseech Euodias and beseech Syntyche that they be of the same mind in the Master. And I entreat you also, true yokefellow, help those women which labored with me in the good news, with Clement also, and with other my fellow laborers whose names are in the book of life. Rejoice in Yahweh always, and again I say rejoice. Let your moderation be known unto all men. The Master is at hand.
Let your moderation be known. But what we trying to do, we always trying to let everybody know our excess. You know, I'm balling. I got all this stuff. I got all these cars, all this house. I got money, money, money. Whatever you need, I got it. I'm throwing away stuff. I'm making it rain. That's not the servant of the Most High. He making it rain on the poor. Go ahead.
Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be known unto Elohim.
So be careful for nothing. When you try to do something and you are putting your mind towards the Most High, that's when it means be careful. Don't be careful. If you know you're trying to do good works, let the Most High know in your heart what you're trying to do. Make sure you're keeping the commandments and do what you need to do. And don't be careful.
Verse 7, and the peace of Yahweh, which passes all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Mashiach Yahshua. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things.
So these are things what our mind are supposed to be on. And, you know, I'm anxious to do like a little study. You know, I like to watch action movies and, we watching Chapo on Netflix and everything like that. And, you know, that stuff affects your spirit. You know, the music that we listening to, you start listening to some of that stuff, man, it really changes your spirit, man. It changes your spirit because even if you're saying, I'm just listening to the beat, you still hearing the words, you still getting the vibe. So those thoughts are still in your head. Even if you're not, I would never go out there in the corner and sell cocaine or crack, but it's in your mind. It's in your thoughts. The gun, the violence, all that stuff is in your mind. This has got to affect you. So imagine if you change your mind and start focusing on nothing but righteous things and virtuous things and helpful things. And when I started changing my music and started listening to different things, shout out to beloved Dawood, one of my favorite truth music artists, and John Boy. Those are my two, and brother Yonatan Yasharal. Brothers that are putting some great music out there, man. That music really helps me to the point where people that are close to me can say, I can recognize a difference in your spirit, a calmness, how it affects you. So I know that works to the point where I'm trying to change it, period. I'm trying to slowly, give my brain a bath and change some of these things. So I know without those things, that's when my mind is on. Without the music and, the aggressive stuff and all, my mind is on Yah. So when my mind is not on Yah, it's being replaced by these other different things. So imagine if it's always there. Maybe I can stop falling and stumbling at that same stumbling block, which is my temper, my temperament, my anger, my not letting S slide. Maybe I can deal with that. And maybe that's the last little piece. So if it can help me, I know it could probably help somebody else.
Jasmine Sapp is asking, put those names in the comments so she could go look those folks up.
Oh, okay. Most definitely, man. I'm telling you, these brothers, man, and shout out to beloved Daweed. They doing, we say Daweed because we Yahweh. Yahuwah people say Dawood. So forgive me, brother, if I pronounce your name wrong. No disrespect. So beloved Dawood, he is in Shreveport. And they doing Louisiana. Him and the brother, I think Kendrick Ferris. These are Israelite celebrities. One in music, the other one in Olympics. They doing a back to school thing that they doing. Thank you, sister, for posting that, Sister Tanya. You know, these are brothers that are motivating, man. You know, beloved Dawood, you know, when I hear his music, man, I'm already doing righteousness. I want to go out there, man. Come here, brother. If you heard of Yahweh, you know what I'm saying? You know, it just motivates me the same way Jeezy got me wanting to go and hit the block and be like, trap or die. You know what I'm saying? It literally made me want to go back to old ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish, man, that dude owed me money from 10 years ago. That's what that do to me. So when I replaced it with brothers that could bring the music on the same level, you know what I'm saying? Don't worry. Don't worry. You know, when you hear brothers putting that kind of music, it inspires you to do what you already got in your mind to do. But it's reinforcement. It's like having the Holy Spirit almost coming in your ear. So praise Yah. That is a gift. That's a gift if a brother can put out good music that inspires people to do righteousness. So y'all got to check it out. And we got a radio station that's coming soon too called True Brew Radio, where we're going to do nothing but righteous Hebrew music. You know, so we'll definitely put that out, you know, and praise Yah to brother Isaiah and IGA and Augusta, you know, who motivated us to get this stuff together. Mm-hmm. And somebody said Bravo, that's another good one. He's another good artist. Peasy, he's another good artist. Paisley, that's another good artist. Like I said, my brother Yonatan Yasharal. You know, these are people that are doing music. You know, 10 years ago, I had to listen to brothers just because they was Hebrew music. Mm-hmm. I ain't necessarily like your beat. Mm-hmm. I ain't really think you could rap. I didn't think you could rap better than me. But I listened to it because it was righteousness. You by default got that support. Now we ain't gotta lose nothing. We ain't gotta lose nothing on the beats. We ain't gotta lose nothing on the message. And I ain't missing nothing. My brother, a producer, he got a gold plaque. He went to Full Sail. And I let him hear John Boy album. He said John Boy album was better than J. Cole's new album. And my brother, he not even walking the walk yet. That's how good this level is. So y'all sleeping on this if y'all ain't seeing this stuff. So Sister Tanya and Brother Isaiah, they going to put the stuff out there so y'all can check it out. Right, and if you know some good artists, put them in the comment. We're going to check them out because we're gonna bring these people on the radio show. And we've reached out to these people. And all those people that I mentioned so far, you know, Daweed, also Crunk God the Jew. He got a dope song. What's the song? Void the Law. Void the Law is dope. Nehemiah snatch a patch out your jaw. That song right there had me walking around the house like I'm ready, like, where your fringes at? This is my pajamas. Why ain't got no fringes on it? Get upstairs, you 5-year-old. What's wrong with you, bro? Them songs will get you hyped. I'm trying to tell you, this is what you need. You need this stuff. And we digressing because we got a little bit of time.
If Tanya got the chance, you can post the links to the playlist.
Yeah, she said.
Puts together.
Yeah, she said she's gonna post those playlists.
Spider the Truth. And I
definitely what's the Hebrew guy that just came down here that was in Hebrew?
Ben Shakar.
Ben Shakar. Bruh can rap in Hebrew and English. And it's dope. And freestyle. All this stuff, bro. We are a wealth of stuff. A wealth of information. Void the law. Exactly. Truth music. We ain't missing nothing. We ain't missing nothing. I'm an artist myself. I don't do it because I can't rap to the level of these brothers that can sound that good. You know what I'm saying? When I used to do it with some wickedness, boy, I was woo-wee. And most high, I used to think, man, why I can't make it? I'm on the stage with platinum artists and I'm getting more love than them. Why I'm not making it? Man, Most High don't love me because these whack brothers keep getting on, or brothers that can't beat me, they getting on. The Most High was like, no, I'm blessing you. That's a blessing that I ain't allowing you to go here and corrupt all these people, because then now you're going to have to go and fix all that. And you ain't going to be able to fix all those things. So all praises, those are real blessings. Ben Shakar, exactly, good. All right. So we're in Philippians chapter
or Ben
4.
Ben Blackwell. You find him as
or
well, like
Ben Blackwell. I'm gonna go ahead and comment that so you can check him out. These brothers. This is works. These are works, man. And you know, I'll tell you my own little personal story. And my brother Isaiah put me on this. Isaiah King in IGA in Augusta. He put me on. He said anytime he want to talk to folks, you know what I'm saying? Me, I'm a teacher, so I'll walk up to you and start talking to you. But I don't really like to do that. It seems pushy and preachy unless you coming to hear me speak. But what I do now, I just play that Beloved Dawid because we in Atlanta. And I don't care who you are. They coming up to me like, man, who is that?
wow.
Who is that? Because they hear the tempo and the beat and they not really paying attention to what he's saying. And that opens the door. Now you done came to me. Oh yeah, this is truth music. All of this stuff is purely biblical based about Israelites. You know who Israel are? You know who you are? It opens it up. The same thing with Kodesh Fresh. When we rock the Kodesh Fresh and we walking with fringes, it be regular people, not even Israelites, coming to us saying, man, what is that? Where you get that? Oh, did you not know this is Yahweh's name in Hebrew? You know who Yahweh is? These are works. And Kodesh Fresh, you ain't got to buy a t-shirt no more just because it say Judah on it and the shirt look whack as ever. Now you can get a nice stylish shirt that you don't even have to be in the word and look nice. We sleeping, but these are works to the Most High.
Philippians chapter 4 and verse 9. Those things which you have both learned and received and heard and seen in me, do. And the Elohim of peace shall be with you. But I rejoiced in Yahweh greatly, that now at the last your care of me has flourished again, wherein you were also careful, but you lacked opportunity. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content.
And that's a blessing too. And that only comes from being poor, being well off, and being poor again, and then being in a better state. But at the end of the day, the Most High took care of you. And the blessing was he allowed you to see different situations so that you can learn how to be content with what the Most High gave you. Because you'll have people that are rich, can never be happy. Nothing is enough. You have poor people that can't really be happy because they're seeing all the material things in the world. And then you have certain people that are okay, they might be well off, and they fine with basic plain things, and they doing philanthropy. And then you have other people that are barely getting by, but they the most joyous people because they serving the Most High. They love, they family being taken. They don't have all the problems that money, more problems give. That's a blessing.
Verse 11, not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. I know both how to be abased, and I know how to abound everywhere, and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Hamashiach, which strengthens me.
I can do all things through this word. Hamashiach is just the word in flesh. Period. Go ahead.
Notwithstanding, you have well done that you did communicate with my affliction. Now, you Philippians know also that in the beginning of the good news when I departed from Macedonia, no assembly communicated with me as concerning giving and receiving, but you only. For even in Thessalonica you sent once and again unto my necessity, not because I desire a gift, but I desire fruit that may abound to your account. But I have all and abound. I am full, having received of Epaphroditus the things which were sent from you, an odor of a sweet smell, a sacrifice acceptable, well-pleasing to Elohim. But my Elohim shall supply your need according to his riches in glory by Mashiach Yahshua. Now unto all, and our Father, be glory forever and ever. Amen. Salute every saint in Mashiach Yahshua. The brethren which are with me greet you. All the saints salute you, chiefly they that are of Caesar's household. The grace of our Master Yahshua Mashiach be with you all. Amen.
Amen. All right, let's go to the conclusion. We're going to go to Zephaniah chapter 3. Zephaniah is going to be towards the end of the Old Testament. I think before Zechariah or something like that. Yep. Right before Zechariah and Haggai or Haggai. After Habakkuk. Zephaniah chapter 3. And let's just start that at verse 1.
Woe to her that is filthy and polluted, to the oppressing city. She obeyed not the voice. She received not correction. She trusted not in Yahweh. She drew not near to her Elohim. Her princes within her are roaring lions. Her judges are evening wolves. They gnaw not the bones till the morrow.
All right, so it's talking about that filthy, polluted, to the oppressing city. What are they talking about? A specific city? Or where are they talking about?
It's talking about Israel and its rebellion.
Right. It's talking about Yasharal. But it's calling Yasharal a city. Because again, Jerusalem is the mother of us all. The city, the assembly. So it's talking about our people, us.
Verse 4, her prophets are light and treacherous persons. Her priests have polluted the sanctuary. They have done violence to the law. The just Yahweh is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning does he bring his judgment to light. He fails not, but the unjust know no shame. I have cut off the nations. Their towers are desolate. I made their streets waste, that none passes by. Their cities are destroyed, so that there is no man, that there is none inhabitant. I said, surely you will fear me. You will receive instruction, so their dwelling should not be cut off. However, I punished them, but they rose early and corrupted all their doings. Therefore wait you upon me, says Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of Yahweh, to serve him with one consent.
All right, so part of that, for us to receive a pure language, means those nations that came and did a lot of wickedness and polluted our speech, which is also, our doings. It polluted our doings and the way we talk and how we talk to each other, and all that has to be dealt with, so we can receive back our pure language. Because our language, this is why we can't be arguing over tomato and all that, because the northern tribes spoke different from the southern tribes. You had one situation where you had a man stand at a certain border and say shibboleth. If you said sibboleth, you couldn't pronounce the shin properly or whatever, then you got killed. So that showed you the northern tribes and the southern tribes spoke differently. The northern tribes were affected heavily by the other nations, because they were yoking themselves with the other nations before the southern tribes eventually did that. So with this constant being spread abroad and going into all these countries and trading, whether we were trading with them, when we were trading, we would pick up their ways of speaking. I know every time I used to go to New York, my grandmother's in Brooklyn, and my auntie is in Brooklyn, and my brother and sister lived in Long Island. I would go up there coming from Miami with that down south talk. When I come back, I'll be like, yo, son, yo, for real, B, and all this stuff. And friends be like, you around that, you pick that up. And it was, joking in a joking manner, but sometimes it would slip out, and I would say that type of talk, You know, and they didn't like that New York talk in Miami. They didn't like that New York brother stuff. You know, so we're affected by that. So our language is taken all over the place. Words that we wouldn't even use, like might, coulda, maybe, and all. Nah, either you're going to do it or you're not. Or I don't know is an answer. Yay or nay, or I don't know. So all those words got to be removed. All that, I may serve the Most High. No, I ain't no may. Either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. That stuff got to be removed so we can go back to a pure language, a pure communication without confusion.
Verse 9, for then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of Yahweh to serve him with one consent. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants, even the daughter of my dispersed, shall bring mine offering. In that day shall you not be ashamed for all your doings wherein you have transgressed against me. For then I will take away out of the midst of you them that rejoice in your pride, and you shall no more be haughty because of my holy mountain. I will also leave in the midst of you an afflicted and poor people, that they shall trust in the name of Yahweh. The remnant of Yasharal shall not do iniquity, nor speak lies, neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth, for they shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid.
So how many of us is going to be included in that? A lot? A little?
Barely us if we don't get it together.
It says a remnant. And if you're confused about that, it says the righteous
Scarcely
enter into the kingdom. How much less the unrighteous, the wicked? So it's talking about 13, the remnant of Yasharal is going to be blessed. If you want to know what a remnant is, go ahead and bring some cupcakes. Put it on the table and then go call the kids. Come back in 15 minutes. Whatever's left there, that's a remnant. Ain't nothing going to be left but some little crumbs that fell out and some sprinkles that fell off. Or maybe that one cupcake that somebody licked the icing off nobody wants.
The scrapings on the side of the paper that was around the cupcake.
That's it. That's how much of Israel is going to be left. A remnant. That's who's going to be blessed. So understanding, that should humble you. And if you're humble, then you should say, I know I ain't worthy. So let me start doing the things that's going to allow me to not be ashamed of my ways, so that I can work and show the Most High I want to be part of that remnant. I want those blessings. I don't want the adversary to bless me. The adversary bless me by, you know what I'm saying, do whatever I want and I'll receive a financial or a carnal reward.
Verse 15. Verse 14. Sing, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O Yasharal. Be glad and rejoice with all the heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. Yahweh has taken away your judgments. He has cast out your enemy. The king of Yasharal, even Yahweh, is in the midst of you. You shall not see evil anymore. In that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, fear you not, and to Zion, let not your hands be slack. Yahweh is your Elohim in the midst of you. Yahweh, your Elohim, in the midst of you is mighty. He will save. He will rejoice over you with joy. He will rest in his love. He will joy over you with singing. I will gather them that are sorrowful for the solemn assembly, who are of you, to whom the reproach of it was a burden.
So this is who he going to gather. He gathering those that are sorrowful for the solemn assembly. Because the solemn assembly, the Moadim, it's defiled. It's not peaceful. And they're just sad that, wow, this is what we've come down to, where we looking at a moon to tell us when we supposed to gather. When our ancient writings tell us that the moon is off. It's not the timekeeper. And you're sorry that our people are still following to those things. We're sorry that you got people that are not of the Levites being priests, doing the service of the Most High, dishonorable people, because the people that are in power are saying, hey, you owe me money? Hey, scratch that. I'm going to make you a priest. Now you're going to get all these offerings from these people in this area. You sorrowful, and it becomes a burden to you. It's a reproach. But you still keeping the commandments. Those are the people that are going to be here, not the people that are happy the way things are, they don't care. It's a difference. When you see didn't know how Josiah felt? When he stumbled on the book of the law, he said, oh my goodness, you mean we've been doing it like this all this time? Improperly? He put on sackcloth and ashes and all kind of stuff. He was depressed. So if you're happy with the state of our nation now, of where we at, there's a problem. Be happy for the growth of where we were and where we're at now. But if you're content with this, there's a problem.
Verse 19, behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict you, and I will save her that halts, and gather her that was driven out, and I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame. At that time will I bring you again, even in the time that I gather you, for I will make you a name and a praise among all people of the earth, when I turn back your captivity before your eyes, says Yahweh.
When you're talking about turn back, I'll remove your captivity or return you from your captivity. All of these are the blessing. This is the blessing. I will make you a name and praise among all the people of the earth. Black America or black people or Negroes or whatever you want, Afro-Americans, African. That name ain't a praise everywhere. That's the rest of Deuteronomy 28. A proverb and a byword, a hissing, a shaking of the head. That's what we are when you mention us. But when these people of the earth realize that my people have inherited lies, and they see us, and they see the righteous Israelites in control, and who our head is, they come down looking like us. Now, oh man, we have heard that Yah is with you, and 10 people will grab a hold of your kanaf and say, we want to go with you. We heard Yah's with you. So if you want to be part of those blessings, then we got to show the Most High we want to be part of those blessings by keeping these commandments and learning how to walk in his ways. So that's all we're going to do today. Any last questions or comments before we close in prayer? And one last thing, tonight is new month. We are beginning the 6th month, Hebrew month, which means it's the last month of summer, which means we should be approaching the again, equal day and equal night, another second closest time of equal day and equal night towards the end of this new month that is coming. And that also means at the end of this new month that's coming, we also entering into the holiest month of the year, the 7th month, where you're going to have your most holy days and you're going to have your holiest day of the year, which is kafar or atonement, when you're going to have that. So that's all we're going to do today. We will probably stream around 9. Y'all still trying to hit the after? Y'all trying to go to? Okay,
I went earlier, so
okay. So we're gonna have our new month at 9 p.m. We're gonna be streaming again for a new month.
Sure, brother.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I just wanted to add when you talk about verse 20, for I will make you a new name, not a name, and a praise amongst all people of the earth. When I turn your captivity before your eyes, said Yahweh. He made a reference about that in Deuteronomy. He read Deuteronomy 28, but he was talking about that also in Deuteronomy 26, verse 19. But just dealing with verse 18, and Yahweh has about to be his day to be a peculiar people, as he has promised you, and thou should keep all his commandments. And then, when we do those type of things, he says, then he make you a high above all nations which he had made in praise and in name and in honor, and that thou mayest be the holy people unto Yahweh Elohim, as he has spoken. And you are correct when you're talking about, that remnant, when it be in that time, that remnant is going to follow Yahweh and keep all his commandments. And we will not go astray against the Father, because the rest of the people that follow him, the Gentiles and everybody else that follow him, are looking to the people that are close to the Father, as good as blessed by the Father, so they will know the path to follow. So you're correct when you're talking about, dealing with it, he's going to grab onto your canal, because you're keeping the commandments. But
right.
You see right now that we are trying to keep the commandments. We're trying to spread the word, of Yahweh. So we are trying to publish this word as he has stated, because we are coming out of an era that, did not even understand this truth. So Yahweh has given us the tools to be able to speak this word throughout the nation, throughout these states, throughout these continents, and so praise Yah that is allowed to do these works.
All praises. Appreciate that, Elder, for adding that in there. All right, let's go ahead and end in a prayer. All brothers remove their head coverings, and all sisters, as always, they pray with their heads fully covered.
Let me go call the girls. Oh, hang on. Where's your head cover? Yazzie. Yazzie. Come downstairs, we're about to pray. Hurry up. Where's your head cover? Come over here. Let's go. Come on. All right, we face the east towards Jerusalem, where our temple was and where our temple will return. Brother West, can you go ahead and close us out?
Abba, Father, Yah, Elohim of Abraham, Yishak, and Yaakov, we pray to you, Father, Yah. Thank you for everything you've provided for us, Father, Yah, and allowed us to come to you, Father, Yah. We pray not only for ourselves here at the assembly, but for Yasharal, for all of Yasharal scattered across the earth. And not only Yasharal, the natural branches, but also those branches that seek to graft in as well. We pray and we ask for the spirit of healing, and ask you to clean our hearts and heal our hearts, Father Yah, for we've all received such trauma living in this world, and we just seek you to and ask you to show us the right way to live, Father Yah, and how to seek your will, Father Yah, and how to come to you with a contrite and clean heart, Father Yah. In Yahshua HaMashiach's holy mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen.